Yes, welcome our Hogmanay special!
Yeah! This is the ballad of Mrs. Big.
Right, I don't own the rights to that. We'll need to phone somebody.
How you get forward, fucking Kiernan?
This is the
Hero,
biggest.
man.
Mad, isn't it?
You were the nation's sweetheart. He's now taking over for you. I'm sorry.
No, but you're young, you're good looking, you've got time to go. I'm getting that older woman that's looking at me now.
Oh, I like that and all.
Like George Clooney audience.
I like that.
They go for, you like that and all? That's a
By the way, congratulations on winning Strictly Come Dancing.
Bill Bailey knew, is it? I've got a wee bit more hair than Bill Bailey. No, he's doing great. That was, I'm no known outside Scotland. That's the one good thing. They don't phone you up to ask you to do Strictly.
Would you do stuff like that?
Strictly Come Dancing. I'll look your colour at it, don't I? I'll have one up, but see, by the time I get my front door in the house, that's enough for me, yeah. No.
But I must say, you look like a West End hipster a bit. Is that
I do, well, I live in the West End. I don't know about the hipster bit. And people are saying that their hair's this long because of hairdressers, but no, all the barbers and that are open. But it's about 40 quid to get a haircut up here. And I normally pay a fiver, so I wouldn't give them it round here. So I've been having a wee go myself, but I just keyed up.
He's got a wee guy.
Absolutely.
No, the
Tiny wee guy.
no, the wee guy.
She must be down the back of your head.
Who's the wee Groggers could cut his hair, couldn't he?
Oh, we could get that wee guy.
A wee guy called Wee Groggers.
You know what he does?
Let me write that down. Get hair done by Groggers.
Before, do you know what he does? Well, there's a cracker, right? See when you cutting your hair? Play with Groggers. That's your nickname for it.
And you keep going.
I like it.
You can't get enough of it. So let's get this established for the get-go. You like young women, older women, and Groggers. Nice,
See what you've got yourself in for here.
It's an odd magazine to try and hunt doing that, innit? I've seen all the other ones, but the Groggers and the haircuts and old women and young women.
See with this amount of time you've had in the house in lockdown and all that, have you ever thought about another still game script?
Oh, great question, Paul.
Because I'm gutted it's gone.
That's a great question. I've noticed, I've been watching a lot of telly and I've noticed that whether anybody asks you a shit question or no, you've got to reply by saying, do you know, that's a great question. And I'm glad you asked that. No, never in a fucking million years. No, it's done.
So what do you do with ideas that come into your head now? Just
well, it depends what it is. I mean, if it's a sitcom idea, then you'd maybe try and write it down and try and get some TV station interested in it. But that's not really what's been. Once you've done a sitcom, you're kind of reluctant to pen another one straight away because, apart from anything else, there's a comparison thing, isn't there? You go on and the public immediately say, "Oh, it's not the same as Still Game." So there needs to be a period of time that you leave a thing like Tuna Fat as well. You would leave a thing before you would embark on that type of thing again.
Would you ever think about writing a sitcom about a 29-year-old guy that still stays with his mum and dad? Called Still Him?
Nobody could keep in contact with it because that doesn't happen to anybody. It's only Dafties that happen to, isn't it? Nobody would be able to. You still in the house, aren't you?
No. I've actually got a big place up the West End.
Do you do your Sarah Hoover?
Absolutely.
Right, okay, absolutely. Wouldn't my bet, aye.
I mean, you could get a wee show together.
Oh, wow.
Old women, young women and guys like me.
Used to both West End, you could start hanging about with each other.
Aye, but how long you been in the West End?
2 years now.
Oh, for goodness sake, no.
Just getting used to it.
No, I'm diving in. I've got West End under my fingernails. I'm here 20 odd year. I'm here longer than I was in Denison, aye.
So that way you grew up in Denison?
I grew up in Denison. I was born in Shettleston and grew up in Denison.
So you're like an Ed, huh?
Well, no, everybody in Denison is an Ned. I would never have said full blown Ned, but I hung about with plenty of them. So most of the thing I managed to get written down later on was coming from the right place. I'd heard it on.
That's what I was thinking.
You know?
Yeah.
But then, what is a Ned? How do you define it?
We're Neds.
Well,
the wee Neds that was on, the wee guy that was on Still Game, the wee guys that, remember they cut the...
You want me to go through the cast and go Ned, middle class,
good
Ned,
guy, Kev, highlight the football calendar 2020. You got one?
I was going to run through that for you, but never mind.
No, so your knowledge of football is obviously fucking more than ours.
Aye, well.
Obviously Scotland, our own country, qualifying for European Championship.
I did hear that. I heard that on the phone. Listen, I'm not picking bits off, you know. I did.
There's plenty to pick off him.
No. Somebody did phone me and say, at Scotland through, and I went, what for? I'm telling you, it's never even on.
So what, you never watched the game on the telly, right?
When Scotland I'm interested in, whenever they qualified for the World Cup and stuff like that, and Scotland as a team, whether it be rugby or, whatever they're doing, if it's Scotland, obviously I'm up in front watching it. Right,
Surprised
can we
we're
get
even
part two of this before we get in it?
No, we're actually
No,
in
we're
this
in it.
one, right.
We're in it,
So there's
yeah.
no-
So it's going to be a big party summer next
Oh,
summer's
well,
going
I'm
to
for
be a
that.
big party.
I'm up for
So
that. I could board up in
We're
football.
getting a bus and going down to Wembley if you fancy
I'm
it.
not up for that, no.
Who's the guy that played Hagrid? Your mate?
Robbie Coltrane.
Coltrane.
He's going to drive it. Remember he drove the bus? Yeah, donut. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, yeah, donut.
Right. Do you want to put a wee hole through here so you can pull my piss off of there? Right, that'll save you. That'll save you trying to get out of here. I'll just hang it out.
Hey, that's enough. I'm not
Oh,
going
do you hate when people are up your arse?
What's that?
Do you hate it when people are up your arse?
Well, I know when somebody's trying to take the fucking piss out of me. I'm no daft.
No, I honestly.
No, he's genuinely a big
No,
fan.
Is
that's
Robbie
right,
Coltrane
yes.
going to come and drive your bus for
I'm
you?
going to try
Did you make
it,
that
right?
up, didn't
No,
you?
we're going to try actually.
Yeah.
We're going to try.
Just try after you mentioned it there, or had you tried
No,
before?
I think we're going to try it. The guy's behind. He's going to try to do it.
Stop looking at me, answer them as
They're doing the right.
Shite myself.
They're doing the right mind would give a comedian a free bus in London to drive about. You gaff your nut with it. Get right through Hamleys with it.
So can you tell him that I do love still games? I feel I'm going to shite
He
myself.
does love still game. He does love it.
Don't get me mixed up with the big man. Honestly, I'm a softie.
No, you're not. I can tell you.
I can
no.
tell you.
That Dennis thing
I
coming
think he's
out.
going to snap at me in a minute.
Oh,
got a chip. He's got a chip.
I'll take
It's
a break
confidence,
after
innit?
first.
How come you're not into football at all? Like a Glasgow guy, grew up in
I
Dennis.
can tell you why. It's dead easy to answer because you know what Celtic. What team? What, was it Celtic you played for?
He played.
Us two did.
Used to, and you played
played
for.
for Rangers.
I played for Rangers, but
Right. Okay. Well, it's like it's. When you come out of Celtic Park, there's exits that take you into the Gallowgate and into the Carlton, right? But there's another big street called Millicent Street that runs right up to Duke Street.
Yep.
And where it comes out at Duke Street, there's two pubs. There's the Bristol Bar, which you'll be familiar with as a Rangers player, and there's the Crown Crichton.
His face is on the dartboard in there.
And they've got the Crown Crichton, which is the Celtic pub. So, and they were, my living room Monday was right at the corner. Now, whenever a big game finished in Celtic Park, or whatever, but Celtic Park, all the windy shutters would go down like the gun, 5 minutes before the gunfight, corral, right? Okay, corral. Down they would come, cafe shut, everything, and then this sea would come up Millicent Street and spill out onto Duke Street exactly where my windy was. And my mum would be like, come back for the windy, but I couldn't keep away from it, looking at the windy, and there'd be mayhem under the windy. Now, obviously, it's because I'm wanting a comedy game and I'm a writer, I'm prone to exaggeration, but I'm not exaggerating this. They were battering into one another with knives and everything. It was common every time we were a big game on. Slashing, stabbing, polos getting done in, motors getting rolled out and tapped at one another. And I'm not exaggerating, it was utter mayhem. And anybody who lived in Dennis will back that up. So, when I was about 8-year-old, I thought to myself, no, I'm not wanting to get involved. It was near the violence. Because that looked like a good one. Well, there was people dropping money and fished up. It was like you could go down and hoover up a bottle of beer. And, anyway, but no, I thought to myself, nah, I don't really want to be part of that whole thing.
You and big mates with Jim Baxter, weren't you?
Well, no, it was
That's a cracker.
Well, no, my uncle used to play, what do you call it, golf with him. And I got a chance to caddy for him a number of times, a couple of summers. I didn't know who he was. And he was annoyed about it. And he said, you do kind of him? And I went, no, I'm Jim Baxter. And I went, I was in his pub, I knew he had a pub and that, and because my uncle would go there and play pool. And I was about 12 or 13. And I hadn't the first idea who he was. And but he was brand new, and he was what a golfer. And he only had half a set in the bag. That was the other thing. It was their big thing to caddy for him. It was a heavy job. He'd a putter, a couple of irons. He could play half it. But then somebody told me that most, you guys will know this to be right, most anybody that's working with round things are usually good at other sports. Like that boy, what's the snooker player?
Ronnie O'Sullivan?
No, the young boy, the Scottish boy, he was only 16 when he won it.
Stephen Henry.
Stephen Henry's a top-notch golfer. And apparently anybody that's involved in that kind of line,
agree with you.
would you agree?
He's good at
I'm
golf,
good at
darts.
six. I play off 6 golf and then darts. I've had 10 darters, 11 darters.
Well, you see,
Not a problem,
finishes.
Aye.
But the darts, he was flying them on his face.
No, aye, his arse. There's a bit of video footage kicking about. Me and Greg were doing something for the Kirsty Watt show, and we had to go down to Hampden Park, to the training ground at Hampden Park. That's what it was, the kind of red ash affair, right? And we had dinner suits on. I don't know what it was about, but to go down and talk to the grounds manager, and we spoke to a couple of football manager guys. I don't know who they were, but they seemed to want it anyway. And we were doing it, and it was some celebration about something. So we had dinner suits on, which was going to make it funnier. Anyway, at the end of the thing, Greg's still got this videotape and he pisses himself laughing at it regularly when he's fed up. And they set it up for us, right, for the final shot, guys, say, thanks very much, join us next week. He says, Greg, you kick the ball out at Ford. Ford, you run up with the ball. He says, there's a goalie in there, but he's not even going to make an attempt at trying to catch the ball. He says, you put it in the back of the onion bag, end of story. And I'm like, pfft. Right, so, well, see you next week. Kicks the ball out of me. By the way, hired tuxedo, and I might say, I'm running down, it's too tight for me. And I'm running down, right? I take a boot at it. I miss the ball completely, upend myself and landed on the white line. Should have, right? I couldn't get the fucking chalk out the jacket. And he was trying to make it on the day, oh, you're right, fella, you're right, you okay, let me help you up now. Me getting that tape back to the house, I freeze framed it bit by bit by bit. And as I'm tumbling over me, right, got Fawn, his best pal, he's gone, we're freeze framing it. As I'm going down, I could have been breaking my neck. And he plays it for fun now, and he digs it up every now and again. He always threatens me he's got to put it on YouTube. That's how bad I'm at football.
But he asked you once if you were watching an Old Firm game.
He asked me if I was watching an Old Firm game. I'm sick of admitting this, but I said I didn't know who. I asked him who was playing. I don't know what that means.
That's not right, man.
I mean, I don't know what it means.
Uh-huh.
But no, I don't much care. And as I say, I got to meet some of because of the other boys in the show, got to meet some of the Lisbon Lion fellas, the guys that played in there.
He's up there with the Lisbon Lions in terms of Celtic's history.
Is that right?
Because I won 9 in a row.
He's part of the 9 in a row.
9 in a row, so if we date this year 10, that'll be the first time in history. So if we do that, we'll be right up there, won't we?
10 cups.
10 titles, 10 leagues.
Right.
So it's a
And he was
big...
part of that.
See, the people that watch this or listen to this podcast will be going, is he at it? No, I'm not, seriously. I know about the 9 in a row thing, because you've never done shouting and bawling about it. I know that every time Celtic, it goes along with that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a thing people know if you don't know anything about football.
So see, how did you go for the stand-up to write and still tune the fat first?
I met Greg along the way. Greg was part of a comedy troupe as well called the Three Men Brothers Trio Troupe, which was 3 guys. And they were funny, and they won the Fringe Award for their comedy, and we'd won an award. Nothing as good as that, though. But it ended up we were all together and either working for the BBC or drinking together in the Hour and More or whatever. And then we started writing me jokes for football programmes of all things, like on the ball and off the ball. And I found out that, you see, this is the irony of me not knowing anything about football, because the next thing it became available was there was a wee opportunity for somebody to come in and do a couple of voices on the radio. And then they said, oh, well, you know, I said, what do these guys sound like? It doesn't matter what they sound like. The guy's Dutch. The football manager's name's Dutch. Here's a joke. Sure, I would just go in and do a voice like this, and that would seem to do it, and that cover the gag. And then we'd write more of them. And then they'd say, you need to do Gaza. And I'm like, I don't want to do Gaza. Because you can buy a number of years. So somebody else would do Gaza, and then we would just thought, but we get 2 years out of that gig.
Wow.
And all we were doing was writing jokes, other people's jokes, and reading them as part of that show. It still runs off the ball.
Because he presented off the ball, didn't he?
Greg did for a while, aye. It's Tom Cowan and
Stuart Cosgrove.
But then Greg does know his sport. Greg knows his stuff.
So see, for there, is that how you got into sort of tune the fat?
No, it started to become clear within the building that they were looking for ideas for radio shows. And I know you said you want Tune the Fat, but we were on the radio we did about 60 radio Tune the Fats before that.
He's also know that Still Game was a play before it was on the TV.
Was it? Aye.
Aye, he told me that since I he'd remembered that.
He's done his research.
No, but so we went, all right, well, look, you and me could do a radio show. So it was basically us just talking, right, and playing records. What a cheat. Because they're paying you money and all you're doing is playing somebody else's record, covering the time. So we'd have an hour show that we would do every Saturday. And of course, I sound ancient here, but it was before the internet. So the only feedback you could get to see if it was working was the taxi drivers. So you did Tune the Fat and it would go, then you get in the taxi, go up the road, and the boys would go, I was just listening to that Tune the Fat on the radio there. You're like, that's us. Because nobody knew who we were on the radio. But that was the only place you could find out if the jokes were working. Because taxi drivers and I don't know, people had the radio on all the day, bus drivers, people that were listening to the radio all day were the only ones that could tell you whether the jokes were working or whether they weren't working.
Well, see, when you were when did you realise that it was going to go as big as it did?
Aye, I knew right away. I went out and I bought an enormous house on the strength of the £17.50 a week job. I went, this is me for life. I thought, fuck Denison. There's Den. I thought, I've got a big house, 6 bedrooms, fuck it. I've got a job in Radio Scotland. I'm going to go off my nut. Ferrari, 2 of them. Do you know what I mean? I immediately knew. I fucking knew right away.
Here, I'm not asking again. I'm fucking petrified to
So
speak.
on his question, like,
He's all over him.
see on his question, which is you're obviously saying you're getting your feedback from taxi drivers,
Aye,
right?
people, aye.
So, as a collective, at what
I'll
point
get him
did you
jumping on the
think...
taxi driver.
No.
Yeah.
As a collective, how did somebody decide that there's enough fucking taxi drivers talking about it? Do you know what I mean?
Well, the BBC's quite always has it, tries to modernise itself, but it's still at heart got the old-fashioned thing. So people still phone in, or used to still phone in or write in, you know, and they say, that was a good show, we can get more of that. So they were kind of culminating that, checking their ratings, feedback for the man in the street, what's the guy saying in the pubs, and more people in pubs would be listening to it, you know, talking about it, and then they started to realise, well, then we started pushing, can we get a telly out of this? And they said, aye. So they gave us a sketch show, and we just tried to get it. If you ever see the first ones of Tune the Fat, it's me and Greg sitting on a couch, like this set up, with a couple of cardigans on, acting as if we're all fucking cool and play a few sketches and that. But we soon realised they're not interested in us chatting. They're wanting sketches. So the next series was all sketches, they chat. Nothing like the radio. And then that was the year 2000. We got asked to do the panto at the Kings, which we did. And during the panto, they started shouting out, going to no do that, you see. And that was us. I'm telling you, the first time we knew that it had caught on, and that had been running for about a year. And a couple of people had said it to me before, but we'd never seen an audience doing it. And they were doing it when we weren't on the stage and all, no, doing it. And the other actors were going, what is that they're fucking shouting about? I went, it's a daft, what is it? We're going to do that. And I said, you can't let me stop doing it because it's fucking... I said, no. And you get in the show, and I'm here to see the Emperor. And I'm like, do that. And it's equivalent. No, you didn't. Do you know what I mean? These things can come and bite your ass, you know. Because, I mean, I think the Celtic team at one point had milk lemonade chocolate.
That was when they won the league.
Aye. And I remember somebody saying to me, they've got, and I went, why out all the catchphrases? And of course, I see them doing it. You know, milk lemonade chocolate and all that, and I thought, that's brilliant.
Right, are you all right?
You got another question?
Can you praise it? Can you give him a bit of praise, please?
You seem worried about something. What are you worried about?
I just want to keep on asking you, I'm just scared in case you bite down my throat.
I'm not going to bite you. I mean, am I getting the impression that I'm hostile? Am I?
See the date, right? I'm going to go for it now.
Right.
See the day, see how you used to always do the New Year special, where it still came.
Aye.
Could we do a wee scene
Oh,
and you
yes.
date? But you,
He's hating this idea, I can tell.
No, please, because I know me and you've not got after the good fit, right? But
Aye.
I can see us two going along the line working together. But just before all that,
Aye.
can we do a wee take, a New Year take, maybe a wee 5-minute sketch or a wee gag?
Of what?
You, the man in charge of it.
In charge of what?
You're editing the scene.
What the fuck are you on about?
He wants to act
I'll
with
tell
you.
you what you do, right? When you go to the toilet, right, have a think about what you're talking about, right? Write it down on a bit of paper in the form of a proposal and bring it back here like a fucking regular person. Instead of asking about with me. Jesus, fuck. You get anything you want to ask?
By the way, he's been a bit snappy.
Why? Go into character mode as the big man and just fucking shout at him.
Fucking raging now.
I'm not raging. What is it? Tell me.
Right, so what do you want to sketch?
Fuck the idea. Fuck the idea.
No, that's how we run Tune the Fat. Every second one went like that.
Fuck it.
He doesn't want to get. You want to get
What
an
was
acting,
it?
don't you?
I'm trying to help you, honestly.
I'm going to go again.
Go again. Try.
No, because I feel that...
Everybody shoots you out, he gets
No,
it.
because I feel you're teaming me up here to go again, you're going to go, fuck off.
No, I would never do that.
Right, see,
I'm
next
not
time,
like
see if
that.
you don't even know, please just so you know.
Right,
Right,
here we go.
Remember the scenes you used to do at New Year? The New
Yes.
Year specials?
Vividly.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Can you do a wee one with us today for the audience at home?
Oh,
Yes.
wait, it's went for him to. Didn't involve us, it's you.
Aye, what's that about?
Dildo arms back.
That's where you come in.
What?
I want
That's your come up every.
I want to pluck your brains today.
Pluck your brains.
Fuck my brains. You're going to take 2 running plucks to yourself. I'm not doing fuck all like that. Think something else.
What would you like to?
What sketch do you like?
I want to fucking show you in right now.
No, you don't. You're having a lovely time. mate.
No, you're a cracking guy.
I'm a good guy.
Deep down, you're a lovely guy.
Deep down.
Show him the shoes.
Oh, they're lovely.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
Aye, turn the toe down a bit. A Balenciaga.
Can't hide money, can you?
Yeah,
Is that what they are?
Aye. No, Ben Sherman there.
Ben Sherman.
Ben Sherman, that's what he called.
I was
But
trying,
see on
I was
the
trying to bail him, mate.
see on the characters, see Tam, he is like everybody's got one of them in their family, pure tight, isn't he?
Aye, well, I've got one. I've got a pal, Martin, who is as tight as that. And we actually wrote, me and Greg sat down and spoke about that, and we wrote a couple of Martin's genuine stories in there.
Gaze one.
There's a few. Well,
How can you be that tight?
I'm trying to give you one that's fresh. Never mind, we've been used before. All right, here's one. Martin before he's a priest now, Martin,
Right.
and Martin was used to run the university, Glasgow University, down the road there. And one of the guys that was running the bars in there came in one day, his face was tripping him. Martin went, "Where have you been?" "Back of two, you should have been back in here at back of one." He went, he says, "I've gambled all my money away in a fruit machine." He says, "Is there an ombudsman for a fruit machine?" Martin says, "I don't know." What do you mean you gambled all your money?" He went, 90 quid. And the bastard's knew and give us a nudge. He went, "You're off your head for standing doing that, putting all that money in a machine, you see." He says, "Where was this?" He says, "Noble's Amusements." He says, "In Dumbarton Road." He says, "Right, back your work." Man got in the car, drove down to the fucking Amusements, put 3 quid in it and got 45 quid out of it. Right, and back up the road. That's the kind of level he works at. So whenever we were talking about Martin, he's definitely, that's Tam. It's, that's super miserable. Always got an eye on the other thing.
Have you got a favourite episode of Still Game?
Aye, it would be well, two really. There's drama. I think it was on the other night, which is when we won tickets to go to a distillery.
The whiskey tasting one?
Aye. It was just hilarious for the start to the end of the day, because we ended up pushed in real life because it was a real distillery. So we got the business done, we got all the work done, but there was a certain part of the show where we were the guy had to bring out halves for everybody. So all the extras were there, they were all getting cold tea. But I said to the guy, the props guy, I said, "Listen, stick us a couple of halves." I says, "It's 1 o'clock now. You got a lot of director." Is that all right? "Fucking all right, it's your show, give us a couple of halves." So me and Greg get the 2 halves put in. But they were all in amongst the cold teas. So I managed to locate them anyway the first time. Then the next time, the director goes, Michael says, "Listen, I don't think it's a good idea that we take, because we're doing this scene about 8 or 9 times during this." He says, "And you're getting a half every time." He says to the props guy, name it out, and fucking morning you'll get sacked." Okay. So you got a wee packet, them wee dots you get, wee sticky dots, just put in thing. You got a packet of them, and there's about 16 cold teas and the 2 wee orange dots under the 2 ones. You're like,
That's yours.
so every time we knew, they were going like, Michael's trying to mix them up. No, that's it, so we couldn't fund them. We knew exactly where they were. So the end scene on that, where I'm standing at a bus, and I've knocked a bottle of whiskey, the Clark Gable whiskey, we were howling. because we had to wait for darkness to come. We had to wait for a new to get the door. Well, we've done that before. You've got to sit in a Winnebago thing to wait till the light's right. You're just inside a distillery for you can get 3 different ones to try. We're sitting like that. So the time we get back out, I'm like, I'm going to get 2 words to say. 2 words.
Are you a whiskey drinker?
No, no.
What was the other favourite episode you had too?
The other one was Fly Society, where we were making out we had a few quid in order to go to a big country manor house.
Right.
And it was a laugh from start to finish. It was a big manor house. That's the one where Tam says to the butler, "Take that poker out your arse." And that was the first time I think it'd been ever said on TV. "Take that poker out your arse." And we just got away with murder there. It was great with McLean and all the actresses and things that we wanted to work with. That was the other good thing about it. We got to work with a lot of people that we admired, that we'd seen growing up, to come into the show. I mean, Robbie Coltrane, obviously his age as well as anyway, but Robbie Coltrane came in as a bus driver. And with loads of people, Celia Amry, and the fella that was in Doctor Who, Sylvester McCoy and all of them. And we got a guest to come in every week. It was great. We had a good time.
See that Fly Society one, was that the one East of Mombasa?
East of Mombasa, aye.
Mate, that was genius.
Because
Was that the one, Willie, Tadger, boys?
when they come in to try and get board games, aye.
I'm relaxing.
You're in your flat.
The guy
You're
in the
back
house,
in the game, Slaney.
we got introduced to, the bit in the story is when we got introduced to the guy that owns the house, He goes, do you do hunting, big game hunting yourself, boys? We went, no, but we did kick a giraffe to death one time. These are the things you've got to run by the BBC. I know it's all right to say that, but the letters about we murder it.
You get the same one here.
You couldn't kick a giraffe on the telly to death today. No. Just when they let you.
Do you think it'd still be...
These snowflakes would be up in arms about it.
Could you still get away with what you done then? Now, nah.
Well, it's funny you should mention that, and because I think some of the chewing the fat stuff you couldn't.
No, what sort of ones?
Well, the likes of Karen pulling her skirt up with you want to squatch at my fanny.
That was brilliant. I don't think you boys still standing there at the end, didn't he?
Aye, because and I think that whole sketch just wouldn't. I remember we did get letters at the time, and said somebody wrote in and said, as funny as the nation thought that sketch was, would that sketch work if it was two wee lassies at the van and they were asking the man to get his cock out? And me and Greg went, no, it wouldn't be as funny. and so the point was made, don't write any more sketches like that, so we didn't. So, you know what I mean?
My favourite on Chewing Fat's the two posh guys that go to Chippies and...
Oh, the two
we're here for the banner. That was fucking outstanding, man.
Well,
one sausage, one... that was me doing the chippy.
They're in the back of a taxi going like that. Oh, every time the guy said, I'll turn the left here, I'll get back here. Oh, keep the change, we'll just go for the banter. But we didn't write them, that was a guy, Rob Christie, that wrote them, who was a friend of ours, who was in that gang with Greg. He now runs the comedy unit, he's the gaffer there, and hilarious stuff. And of course, the guys for Burnesson, Florence McConnell, wrote a stack of stuff for Chewing the Fat. They were part on the writing team. Their stuff was magic. I think the big man was theirs. Another guy called Ian Davidson, Noddy Davidson, wrote that.
That was brilliant. That was in football for a bit, dressing rooms and stuff like that.
I still get that.
Do you, right?
Aye.
Do you get arseholes quoting you all the time?
No, arsehole, it's all good stuff. But if you say something like, if you pronounce something the correct way, instead of, I don't know, like if you say arsehole instead of the arsehole, we'll go, oh, listen to you, eating educated. You can't say anything remotely presumptuous, or otherwise somebody will go like that.
Is that the one you get the most?
Oh, well, we used to get a lot worse. That took a lot to die down because Greg and I would be out walking up and down just in Byers Road in the summer in our van. Hey, a couple of fannies. I suppose that's part of the deal, man. And of course, we made it worse. And Gavin said to us, what are you bitching about? He wasn't long and bitching a couple of years later when Still Game came along because he can't go anywhere without somebody saying, "He's 2 pints, you prick." And you've got to go, no. Oh, that's good you remembered.
You said he's made it worse, did you deliberately make it worse?
Well,
you
could, good point. That was a great question.
Like, see when you're...
No, seriously, because that was part of something that happened because we did toy for a while of taking Winston's other leg off. Because we took one leg off him because he was saying, how's that going to work? Well, be a prosthetic leg, obviously. We had to speak about it amongst us. And he went, no, I think I'll be all right with that. But it's going to need to be strapping up. I went, well, from time to time, there's going to have to be, depending on what angle we need to be at. It was tough, you know what I mean, for him. Especially on the stage when we're in the hydro, because that's what to be strapped up. You know yourself, you got a cramp. You've got to get your leg out straight. His leg strapped to his back, just so that we could do sketches and stuff like that. It was tough. But we said that if he ever gives us any grief, if he gives us a hard time about gags or whatever, we just cut our leg off him and that would be him wheelchair bound for the rest of the series. He's like, that suits me, that'll do me. He's a wheelchair, I'll save me fucking long. Some cast members asking for things. Can I get my hair off?
See the sketch with a manager and assistant manager, you've said you're not into football. But that actually, you would be so surprised at how real that is.
I know, and we didn't realise, and again, that was something somebody turned in on a bit of paper, and we looked at it and went, what's the drill here? And it's a silent sketch. The manager's there and you're copying the manager. And I'm like, how's that work? And they went like, well, that's what they do. They do that. Did it? I went, right, just copy, that's fair enough. So we got down to some football part somewhere. And the beauty of that was, the football alienates people. I don't mean for religion. Just if you're not into football, you're not into it.
Yeah.
But this, with it being a silent sketch, that went all over the place. There was people in Europe watching that because it was the same as there's no language barrier. So it just kind of landed. And every time, people just assumed that I knew about football, or we knew about football. No, but it was I still see that sketch from time to time. It still makes me laugh. I can't even remember doing that sketch.
It's probably better that you maybe didn't know much about football, because your mannerisms and the way that you do it.
Tell you that.
Doesn't tell you, no, just to tell you that he didn't know it.
It's a poor guy, because he's like,
you're just wanting to be the gaffer.
Get there, you bam. Do you know what I mean? And then we didn't know how to finish it, and I thought, you spit your chewing gum out and I'll spit it in your face. That's how we got it.
What managers, assistant
Gary
managers?
Parker with Lenny. See, every time Lenny said something, like genuinely, like 5 seconds later, he would say the exact same thing.
But just try and word it a wee bit different.
It's exactly. I think most assistants are like that though, aren't they?
Was it no Stuart Kettlewell that just got the sack at the weekend, and that boy
Ferguson.
They used to do that, and it was like
people would show the sketch next to
People would show the sketch next to these two Ross County managers.
Aye.
Because they were just a carbon copy of what you guys were doing. But it was brilliant.
I had the opposite, Celtic with Tony Mowbray. Right. So Tony Mowbray would come up and tell you one thing, and Mark Venus, who was his assistant manager, would come and say, fucking forget what you just told you there, do this. And you're like, what the fuck did I do?
Aye. The other thing, we did spend some time with football players for things, but I can't even remember what it was supposed to be, because the likes of the Oran Moore and that, sometimes it would be football players would show up. But when you all get together, believe it or not, you all talk too fast. I can hardly understand what you're saying. I mean, I'm from the East End. I talk fast. But see, when football players get together, I mean, and you're all from different places, Glasgow, Edinburgh, sorry, the D. But you know what I mean? But you said, when I knew I was coming down here, I went, I'll get this on the, I'll dig this up and have a look at it, sort of know what I'm getting into.
Right.
And I've put it on, and it was you and Frank McAvenny, and you were there. It was like the Wizard of Oz. You were there, and you were there, and so were you, Toto. And that was when it was like, what the fuck are they talking about?
That's just because...
How the fuck am I going to get in there?
That was just because Frank was on. He doesn't let anybody fucking speak.
Did you meet a lot of famous people through tune the fact that I actually loved it, like big football players?
Lorraine Kelly was on it.
She doesn't play football.
Can you come here every week, please? I need somebody like you here every week.
You're the first man to ever keep him quiet.
No, I've seen her pass a few boys, but I don't think she'd be any good at football.
By the way, do you know what you've done him though? We're not going to hear from him for about 2 weeks. He'll be under his bed covers for 2 weeks now.
That's just, I've looked forward to this day for fucking ages now. I just want to fucking finish right now.
I know it started off a bit knacky, but it's getting a bit loving now, isn't it?
Where do you like to hang about the West End so you can?
Well, it was always.
I'll come up with yours after.
I know, no bother at all.
I didn't. We need to sort this out.
Have you got a piano in your house?
I have got a piano in my house.
You can play.
Here, I think we could do a wee song later, no? Because you see your songs you play. No, before you shout at me.
Before
you get naggy.
It's not that. I've got your card mapped already. I've always kind of prided myself being able to sum people up in the first 10 minutes of meeting them.
Yeah.
You're a fucking chancer, and you've got nothing. Leave me alone. What is this fucking loose woman? What are you doing for Christmas? What are you going to do for Christmas? Do you put up a tree? Did you put your tree upside down? Geez, please.
Amazing, man. What one? Nice.
Right, saying that's
Did you just say you're getting done into me there?
Oh, so you're getting done into me?
You did. You fucking did. 10 minutes with you did.
Oh, amazing, man. What about night suit? Still game night suit?
Well, we went to the Box. What a night we had that. It's a couple of years ago. There's a tune in the pub, the tune called the Box, and they've got a still game drinks menu. You can get a tam, you can get an Isa, and they make cocktails and that. Anyway, they invited us down one night, and we all put shirts on and we went. Unusual for us to do it all together at one time, but we went. What a night that turned out. It was a pub quiz is what it was. We came 15th. Some young boy won the lot, and whatever the prize was. Then all hell broke loose. The DJ got out, started playing do. And of course we're all into it. And then I'm in the DJ box, I'm singing Sweet Caroline, everybody's doing it. Tables getting kicked. There's a video kicking about it. It was great.
Well, you came 15th in a still game quiz?
Oh, aye. Came second in a pig winning contest. Aye. Couldn't win it. They didn't know the answers. They all knew the answers.
What, do you get pure fanatics, like scary fanatics?
Aye. Well, Amy McDonald, you know the singer, the pop singer? She was on Mastermind, and it was her specialist subject.
Wow.
Still game. And she nearly won it. Somebody else beat her than somebody, but that was a chosen subject.
Do you hang about together outside?
Well, we have done early years. I mean, Greg and I were obviously extremely big, but then your family starts. We've been on holidays, we've been on holidays together. Oh, aye. We went to Turkey and Greg and I were away at the States a couple of years ago. In fact, we wrote the Hydro, the middle Hydro we wrote in Florida, Los Angeles. We went away just for a fortnight to see if we could try and get a holiday and write the Hydro, and we did. We wrote the Hydro when we were away. And they said, we need to watch this, it's no cocktail umbrellas and whatnot. And we go back and we go, what the fuck are they on about? We're all in Los Angeles. But no, we did, and we're still pals, we're all pals, that's good.
Do you think when you meet people that expect you to be funny? Because of the way you are on the show? You get that?
When you meet people...
Expect you to be funny.
Tell me one thing, this has got to stop.
Stop to who?
Can we cut and we have a wee 5-minute chat?
Well, I'm Kiernan.
I'm Kiernan.
I don't mind tell you. No, I think the spark that we've found between us today
Is a show.
Is a show, a show in the making.
So see when you asked for a scene at the start, he's been playing it, you didn't realise he's been playing it for the last 30 minutes.
I know where this is going. I know where you and I are
You could
going.
have played it back better, Slaney.
I thought you were going to get the A2 already. Dundee and Stranraer. I'm the
Stranraer.
Glasgow boy. I thought we would have
No,
been sorted.
The Glasgow scheme boys.
Anderson. Aye, see, tough tune, I know.
Tough, innit?
Aye, we could add a different show. We really didn't need these two interlopers. You know what I mean?
We are
because
country
they are
boys.
technically. Where is it your face?
Stranraer.
Stranraer.
Strange place.
I'm
that.
dying for
You
it to
played
start,
in
man.
there.
Wait a minute here. We're talking about strange places.
Which Stranraer go? Is it mussels and that? Milks?
They've got oysters.
Oysters. I knew it was something.
Have you played
Big
in there?
oyster festival.
Have I played? Yeah,
Played
no,
in
I've been in Stranraer a few
Aye,
times.
probably
I
for
can't-
the boat to get out.
Well, that's the reason I'm distracted. Aye, you're right enough.
New Year, Slaney, do you usually watch the
Never.
Never watched it. I don't know if it's on at New Year. They've put it on every other New Year. We only did, I think, about 3 or 4 Christmassy New Year special things. So
Was there ever an episode that you hated then?
no, there was sketches that I didn't like. There was one I really didn't want to do. I didn't want to be the big man's ma, but they thought it was a good idea. So apart from anything else, because I had to go and get dressed up as a big man's, it was a sketch whereby the big man was trying to get a dolly that everybody was wanting that year for Christmas, and the big man's ma's come in to sort it out, and I'm the big man's ma. So it was a double part in the one sketch. It was murder police, because I had a big thing on, like a big hat on, it looked like I had a hair and the boobs and all that. It was mental, and I was sweating like a pig. I didn't want to do it, but I done it and it turned out all right, and everybody liked it. But there's no shows I didn't want to know. No, I've loved them all.
Oh, do you know my favourite Villers actor?
Brilliant.
What is it? Five guys named Bob?
5 guys named Mo.
Mo,
Aye, that was just that's a pal of mine, that guy.
Was he a terrible actor?
No, but it's his voice, and he's not. He did tipple years ago and made an argument about it. But it's just that, that's right. I'll try that. Right, okay. So you don't want that, right? So, so that mean you want me? Right, no. So it's just that constant being on your toes all the time and being rotten. And we just started it as a kind of ad lib thing, and then it just grew into a monster. It was
There's loads of sketches that you would try that didn't make it to the TV scene.
Yeah.
That you maybe, like say for example, you've come up with a sketch with you and Greg and you thought, right, this will work.
Aye.
You've tried it and it didn't make it, but you thought, should have made it.
Loads of that.
Loads of that.
Aye.
And think things like that will ever come to...
No, I stood and watched them all burnt. I stood and watched all the tapes all burnt. They'll never surface again.
Nah.
We did 2 hillbillies. I think one of them made through. We did 2 hillbilly characters that lived in a caravan, and they were just waiting for visitors coming. And what we would do is strip the skin off them and wear their skins. And we recorded one of them. We had a suit made with a willy on it and everything, right? With the hair growing out the chin and all that. And we were pushing ourselves, but the bosses were like, they 2 are after head, that's not right. We did 2 film producers called Flockenbecker and Flockenbecker. He was a boy and I was a grandfather. And he would come in with a shite idea every week. And I'd say, right, what's your big idea? What you got for me this week? Tell me you got something we can make into a movie. And he says, it's a great idea, Dad. We got a big fish and it's terrorizing everybody. You're like, what? this is your idea? So the BBC went like, no, not fair enough. So that was the gag every week. He'd come in and go, tell us a fucking film that's already been out, It's a writer who has to be in a hotel on his own in the middle of nowhere and he starts killing his family. What? You know what I mean? It's not been done. So there was stuff we had to redo. We had loads of material. The beginning of tune of fact, we were writing most of it. By the end of it, we were writing hardly any of it.
Did he ever thank you for the family? That was...
Aye.
That's Fez
That
living
was
it.
another thing. we go at that. We always went a storm, right? We just had a great idea. Let's get. I don't think you get even knew these things, but there was a lot of people with them in the 90s. You know, you get them. Can I help you? And God, what's that? They're doing a fucking fella shave up at their neck. So we wrote the sketch, and I think the producer said, "Nah, it's not right on that, is it? You know, people with throat cancer." And I'm like, "Well, can we do it?" So we sent to the medical people that make the machines, and asked them, could we hire them for television, 4 of them, for me, Greg, and Karen Barty using that. And they never asked us what for. I think they thought we were making a health advert.
Fair.
Well, when they found out, they wrote back and says, we don't like this at all. Because we boxed them all back up and sent them back, but they went, no, you've misrepresented this here. They weren't happy. They never made us take them off, but eventually we slowed down on them because it's not right, is it? But that's what I'm saying, that a lot of the stuff in tune of fact you could have put in.
How come Kiernan Bar never went on Still Game?
Well, there seemed to be, what had happened was Still Game was a play at the festival, and it was only me, Paul Riley and Greg Hempel, and that was it. It was supposed to be, Bobby the barman was supposed to be Winston, but he couldn't come and do the play because he was doing something else. So really that's not how it should have worked out. It should have been Gavin. Then as we moved on, we had to have a Gabby woman. We had to have a woman that was able to take your story and move it into the rest of the community. So we knew Jane for other stuff. And we'd been in another thing with her years before as well on TV called Pulp Video. So we knew she was a go-to. But tune the fact we didn't need another woman because Karen was everybody.
Yeah.
She was the old
She was good, wasn't she?
She was Dirty Old Betty. There's another thing.
Dirty Old Betty was
you
good.
You couldn't have Dirty Old Betty in it. Oh my good Lord.
My favourite one she done was the science teacher when kids would always ask her about willies and stuff like that, and she would fucking...
Well, that was her own invention. She definitely come up with that voice and all the mannerisms and weird catchphrases came out of that. You know, don't speak to me unless your neck's the same colour as your face and all that. And, do you know what I mean? Cracking me. Karen's a scream. And also a Shakespearean actress, I might add.
Wow.
She just done last year 300 performances of all over Britain of Shakespeare. You forget that.
Yeah. Right, the countdown's coming soon. Have you got anything you want to ask him? Because
I'm petrified to ask him.
Wait a minute.
Go on, ask him.
It's a new year, why not?
I'm going into the new year. A fucking shivering wreck.
Have you and Greg ever fell out?
Aye. Well, no majorly, but we fell out because not as much fell out as we just couldn't do any more than we'd done. By the time we got to 2006, oh man, they were asking us to do 9 at a time instead of 6 and all that carry on, and you weren't getting a chance to enjoy. I suppose it's the same in football. When you're in the middle of it, you're doing something. Every time you try to enjoy you can't really because you've got to get back to form. You can't go right off the rails. So we just felt as if we were doing that. So we were sniping about it. And I wanted to go one way, he wanted to do other things. And we went, right, let's just dump this now. And that lasted for 6 years, I think. And then, because they built that hydro.
Yeah.
And then we went, I wonder if we could get enough people to go inside that hydro and watch us coming back. And that's what we've done.
So see there when you're talking about like, you're doing 6, then you're doing 9. Do you feel like your performances would have dropped if you did more, or was it like? Did you think it became more of like an effort?
No, it wasn't the effort. It was just that we weren't. It was that thing we felt we were going at full steam, really enjoying the work, and we weren't getting any time for ourselves.
Aye.
And then we were going on holiday. We were going on holiday together because we were writing what we were coming back today. So it was all getting a bit. Everybody was in everybody's pocket. Aye. You know, when that talk about bubbles, that was a bubble. You know, we were just in the get out to play. I mean, maybe all right for me. I was a bit older. I'm 7 years older than Greg, but no, we got married around about had the weddings around about the same time. Everything was going on great. It's good.
One of the Hogmanay Still games back in time to show the character at your own age. Is that something you also wanted to do?
To go back in time, aye. By the time we went back in time, I still didn't look right when I went back. I still look old. But I thought Paul Riley had a perm. It was hilarious. They kept that back and showed us that as a reveal. You know, rather than we weren't all walking about at lunchtime, we didn't see some of the things we didn't see until we actually opened the door.
Camera,
and the director was enjoying the reveals, you know, because Sanjeev had big flares on for the 70s and I met a rotten jumper. The way we treat Sanjeev in that, we treat him. We tried to look back at what the racial relationship situation was like back then. So when we opened the door up we were going, this door not for you, you go other door. Because people in the 70s didn't speak like that to Asians, you know what I mean? You're thinking, that's ridiculous. So we made a point of highlighting all that. So that was what was funny for us. And of course, Isa, with a big chest and all that, and a slinky dress on, and then doing to nothing nearly at the end of the episode.
It's weird to see Jane without her eyes on. She's quite pretty, isn't she?
Oh, she's good looking, Jane. And of course, she had to take her clothes off. She had to just get down to her knickers for the last scene. That was a carry on because one of the guys who died, with a guy that worked for us that died, Ronnie Letham, who's a legend in the acting world. And what did happen here? I think it was Tam had to foil the couch at some point and kick Ronnie Letham right in the stones. Ronnie was too well at the time. He's right in the onion bag, you know what I mean? We couldn't get a day's work done for it because he was old, you know, and fucking Coxie's got big shoes outside, you know, fuck right in the balls. But she was doing her knickers, and she maintains to this day that was a body double that did that, wasn't it?
It was her.
It was her. She was a game.
That's your favourite scene in it.
Love that. Fucking magic.
You're getting you remind me of Coxie a wee bit. You've got the same kind of mannerism. In real life, though.
Aye.
Coxie's funny. He's got a...
That's him that plays Tam?
Aye. Yeah. He's very dry now.
You're not happy with that? You want to be a bigger one, don't you?
No, I'm buzzing now.
No, you better listen. If you were half as funny as Mark Cox is in real life, he's an absolute screaming, a great delivery.
Yes, it's a New Year countdown now. My favourite part of Open Goal 2020 was Brooke, absolute star. Have you heard her for?
I'm in a terrible state now. It's the apprehension there. It's a countdown. I'm always getting super excited before a countdown starts. You know what starts? The worst thing that happens is my hair always starts shaking like that. See if I've got to, I've got to hold myself down to whatever furniture I'm on, or I just start going. So just go on, mate. I'm desperate to get the countdown. I wish to Christ it was that new. Has it started yet?
Wait till you hear it. Right, we're ready then. So that's 10 seconds to go now.
Oh, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Brilliant, that was so good.
Well done, Brooke.
By the way, you're not a bad chanter, eh?
You know what about yeah?
As long as you can drown the guitar out, you're all right.
Do you know another thing I wanted to ask you? What about the accents? How do you get so good at that?
My mum used to do accents all the time in the house. She'd say, "It's a fuck all for eating," and no, but she wasn't. No, but we just used to copy the things off the tellies, and she'd try and do an American accent or an Italian accent, and we'd try and copy one until we got it right. I don't know why she was doing that. Didn't want to be an actor. I wasn't an actor. Didn't do any of the school things or anything like that. But I don't know. There was nothing to do. There were no internet. There were no. The Etch a Sketch was my laptop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was all we had. So voices just always appealed to me. I always liked American TV and English TV. And you've either got an ear for it. It's now I've just remembered that I'm going to tell you this. It's no my joke. I heard that it's for the 70s, but it's a cracking thing. The guy's into butchers, right? He's into his butcher shop. And he says, "I'll take a steak pie." He says, "I cut a pound of sausages." And he can see right away that the lassie behind the counter quite likes the look of him, you know. And he knows that. He's well dressed. And he goes, he says, "I see you looking at me there." He says, "What age do you think I am?" She went, "I don't know." She says, "What, are you 40? He went, "No." He says, "I'm 55. She went, 55? She went, "Agnes." She went, "What age do you think that guy is?" Well, I said, "I don't know, 38, 39. 55. She went, "Fuck's sake, 50. Oh, she looks good, doesn't he?" He's like, look after myself, you know, bit of jogging and that. The rest of it. She went, "You certainly don't." She went, "That's amazing." Gets his steak pie and his sausages away at the door. Starts raining. She's like, "Oh, we went to a bus stop." There's a wee woman sitting in the bus stop out in the rain, sitting next to the woman. "Hello, darling." She goes, "Hello, son." And he says, "What are you up to today?" She went, "Oh, I'm having a smashing day today." She says, I'm 80 years old today." He went, "Congratulations." He says, "What are you going to do?" She says, "Well, I've got a cake for me back at the home." She says, "There's going to be an accordion player, probably a guitar player." She says, "And we'll have a wee dance and a wee sing, so it's going to be marvellous." He says, "That's good." He says, "What age do you think am I?" And she went, "Well," she says, I'm not really any good at that, son." He says, "No, have a go." She went, "No, I wouldn't want to insult you." She said, "Well, there's only actually one way." She says, "I can tell what age you are." She says, "If you let me put my on, down the front of your trousers. She says, I'll be able to tell you. He went, hey. She went, aye, well, it's every time. So he looks about and there's nobody there. And he goes, aye, all right, on you go. So the woman goes, she goes, it's a right good route about. And she goes, you're 55. And he went, how the fuck do you know that? She says, I was standing behind you in the butcher's.
Yes.
Not a couple of 100 yards away from this very place we're in. We're at the corner of the bank, the Clydesdale Bank, me and Greg, right? But it's before still game, so nobody knows who we are. We're just doing sketches for Tuna Fat. Nobody knows who we are. So the joke was that we get into the bank and there's a guy in a queue wanting by me. I'm standing, and I'm an old man, I'm Jack. And the guy's going, for goodness sake, I stand in the queue. Shut up, I'm saying. And I get to the counter and I open my bag and it's 300 quid worth of 1 pences for the guy to count. That's a joke, right? There's always some old bastard in front of you wanting all that done when you're only in, right? So that's fine. So the guy's like, it's getting too warm in here, the lights are too warm. Everybody will need to get out the bank and go and stand in the street to get the air in and get the lights on again. So we go out in the street, of course I'm smoking, Greg's smoking as well at the time. And we're standing at that fence down there. This old dame comes up to starts chatting. He's up. I am not kidding you, right? Hot as you like, right? She's about 70 odds. Oh, she's like, it's nice weather. What are they doing in the bank? And I'm like, I say to Greg, she doesn't get the first idea that we're now in our 70s here. No, look, it's happening, right? And I went, oh no, they're filming something there. I don't know what it is. Some carry on. You know what they're like? You know, like these bloody film crews coming on fucking filming and all that. She says, pen in the arse. She says, what are you up to yourself? Says I. She says, oh, I'm going up to my, I just live up there. She says, she points up to a window. She says, I mean, you're more than welcome, both of you, if you want to come up. She says,
no way.
She says, oh, I'm going to do steep my feet. We could all steep our feet. She says, oh. I'm thinking, whoa. So she said, come up, she's got all the coffee and all that. And I went, we're actually getting asked to go up to a bird's house at 75-year-old. So the director came in, what's going on here? We're like, but honestly, and we started to think, is there a total subculture of 70-somethings? Oh, nicking about or steeping their feet together.
But that was a sketch on Tune the Fat, wasn't it, Jack and Victor?
Aye.
Why was it that one you picked to go into a show?
What do you mean?
Like, so why is it they two characters that you thought would be a spin-off?
I see. Oh, sorry, I get what you mean. Aye. Well, when to work out, they said to us, do you want to do a sitcom? And we said aye. And we kind of thought about doing Royal Villiers as a sketch show, but I didn't. We thought the strongest two people in the show were Jack and Victor. Plus, we'd done a play with them already.
Right.
So, and Winston had been in it and play. So we thought that's the one that's got the teeth on it. Yeah. You know, that's the one that will grow and grow and grow. And then we just started building up the community the way the Simpsons does. We had Isa, Naveed, built them all out. And right out to Methadone Mick and Peter Jake Darcy, who died. But everybody, they loved him, I know. They loved Jakey.
Yeah. He's a hero.
You know, absolutely hero, aye.
Oh, what a legend.
So everybody was represented and everybody done a great job of representing themselves. But no, we had some great laughs and mad things with hangovers and that, having to get into the sea. You remember that one we went to shitey Finport? Mm-hmm. It was some seaside resort, it was a right shite hole, and we went to looking for Winston because he'd run away to it. Well, we had a terrible hangover and we'd actually get into the sea in that one. And stand up, it was murder. We were in the water all the time. And
I watched that one.
Why are we doing that? We're writing it. What are we writing these?
I watched that one last night when you were sailing down the sea in the dinghy.
In the dinghy, have we done that?
That was just there, wasn't it? Kelvin.
Aye, and the funny bit of that one was when it shut out, he started waving at everybody. And it was like the people on the embankment, the Neds and all that, and then fucking some gorgeous woman was just sitting on the bank. It's a mermaid.
And then it was people graduating from university in a locomotive train and
then
all
the
that.
train, and then it was the safari part.
That's right,
it was brilliant.
Aye, well, the idea was Greg and I had I went up to Costco and I bought a dinghy for a tenner, and that included 2 paddles. So, and a wee thing to go like that with it. And it was for a weighing, it was for a swimming pool, right? Because it was only about the size of this table, I'm not kidding you. And we were sitting one day and we said, could you go down the Kelvin in our dinghy? And we two went, nah, it's not possible, too many rocks. So we got in the car and we drove our way up through Maryhill, and we looked at wee bits of the Kelvin. Went, nah, you couldn't get from here to the Clyde, because it goes round there and it goes round there. So I said, fuck it. Went to Costco, bought a dinghy, and me and him went in it ourselves, just me and him. Went down past these private houses, sneaked through the garden, stuck it in the water, and me and him got into it, right? And we get right down, and we come right down past Kelvin Dale, right down, we go to the Big Blue, you know where the Big Blue is? Right at that bit down there. And a shopping trolley tore the arse right out it, and the two of us ended up in the battle. Aye, but to go and get injections for Weil's disease, because it's full of rat piss, that water. So when we said to the BBC, we want to go down to Kelvin in a dinghy, they went, it can't be done. And we went, well, we fucking done it 2 weeks ago. So they went, right. So they bought us a real dinghy and we done it with that. So.
Another one I loved was Stevie the Bookie, man.
Oh, Stevie.
Stevie. It's great. But that's the thing, you give Riley a bit of a dialogue and he'll do the right thing with it. He knows exactly, because we didn't write that in.
Yeah.
That's Riley.
So that's what I was going to say, do you let them go off script?
No, it's not off script exactly. You write the script down and then it's up to you how you interpret it. And Paul just lifted that right up into... There was a scene that we wrote where he was putting the bookies' pens right into the... Stevie the Bookie was putting the bookies' pens right in the hole just before Winston says, fuck, like that. You see, so he goes like, you are nothing but a dirty fuck. And the pen stops the noise from going through the holes. No. Well, we'd written that in, but we'd no way of knowing how that was going to work to Riley get his hands on it and worked it up and got it round, and then it became, everybody was talking about it. It's just great.
Amazing, man.
Brilliant, isn't it?
It's great to hear, isn't it?
Exhausted, aren't you?
No, I love it. I could sit all day.
I could listen all day.
And then,
Do you enjoy talking about it?
No. No, of course I do. It's a highlight of my life. So,
of course it is.
You know yourself, you might not know, but you know when you're good at something, you know, you feel good when you're doing it, and you get a lot of feedback about it. It's a marvellous feeling.
Oh, you're right, you do know fuck all about football. Do you miss it then?
I miss the performance part of it, aye, and I miss the stage shows are always a scream. They're the biggest thing. That's you getting to be in a pop group at that level. Once you've played the bigger room like that, it's like being in the Beatles.
So have you got advice for us for the Hydro?
Oh, you're playing Hydro, aren't you?
Yeah, sold out, by the way, sold out, 5 minutes.
Quicker than still game.
That's for the opening of what is it for? It's
Open goal.
Open goal.
So you've actually done, and you've set the place out?
Aye.
That's phenomenal. Do you know
what feeling it is,
the
innit?
funny thing is, you after a couple of minutes, you do genuinely forget that they're there. I mean, you can hear them shouting, get fucking half, you're rotten. Well, that'll be your thing. Yours was, we love you and that, but I don't know how that'll go. I heard it, fuck off. And you that kind of thing, but you just let it bounce.
See a proper fucking, could you sit in the front row of the Hydro gig, please?
I'll come down and keep all that. I'll come as a big man and keep it down for you. I'll look after you.
You can't come because I'll...
See if he came.
No, in all seriousness, you talk about running on your football parks and your great stadiums for sport and all that. It must be like that. I would equate it with that. It's like being a pop star. It's otherworldly. When you move on and you look at all the people and you go, well, they've all decided they're taking time out of their day to come and see me here doing this. You owe it to be shiting yourself.
That's a good. That's a good.
Were you nervous, eh?
What?
Were you nervous?
No, you did. The first time, we were all shiting, of course, because the one we did in 2014, we'd been away for 7 years and hadn't done a curdie.
Yeah.
You open the curtain and there they all are.
Waiting.
11,000 eyes all staring at you. Go! You know, but it's funny, it's different for a club. You can hear shouting and that, screaming, people getting stabbed and that, but it's in the distance.
People getting stabbed.
It's all right.
That's a brilliant question. How did you take the show every Friday night onto the stage? Was that really difficult? Please understand me.
I do understand you. Are you worried about it? Well, no, you don't need that. Well, we've written a play before, right? We've written a play before, so we know, and we're actors. We've been acting a long time and still games, so you kind of know what works in the space of a couple of hours. You know to be on something for too long. You know, like dragging out a thing. You don't want to drag a thing out.
Didn't that with me all fucking show?
You don't want to just keep hammering away at something, you're not getting any results with. But so you try and modify that down and build your wee show. I'm sure if you've sold the tickets, that's the one thing you need to remember, right?
Aye.
See your comedian shites it, right? He goes out and he goes, how you all doing? Anybody in for Paisley? That fucking sweat rolling down the back of his neck. All that. But you've not to worry about that, you see, because they've came because they like you.
What we do,
so that's the point. They're not there to shout, you're rotten, and she likes you, but I fucking think you're a dick. You don't get any of that. I've been dragged on here. You don't, none of it. They're all there because they like you. So you just go, in the minute you go on the stage, try your level best. Don't worry
enjoy yourself, innit?
Just enjoy yourself, because it's the best time you'll have without Iron Brew.
Right, there's a time you never enjoyed yourself. Scorsese on Gangs of New York.
No, I'm
making absent.
I'm not going to tell the story a million times. I'd said cut when I shouldn't have said cut on his film. There was a lot of set-up going on. There was cabbages, there was about 400 cabbages getting through about. There was wains hanging off the buildings and people shouting and bawling and running, fire trucks and fire, gas, everything. And I wasn't even in the shop, it was on my shooter. And action and all that started. And hundreds of people. And I didn't like what I'd said. I said the wrong line. I just turned on the camera and I went like, cut. And everybody went, fuck me. So all the stuff was just lying about. And the assistant director came in and went, you don't say cut. You weren't even in the shot. It was just your shooter. It was... wait. Because I just came off a tune of fat. And I've been used to... Me and Greg are used to going, that's not working. Just we'll do that again. And I'd just been finished doing that, and I just was in the way. Big £200 million film, and I'm not. It's just this bit. And I'm like, I can't be shy. Just shut. So I met Scorsese. Scorsese came out and he went, I say cut for, do you? I was like, it wouldn't even matter if he'd come out and slapped me. I was just so excited to be in his company. So I got 5 minutes with him. I spoke to him for 5 minutes. Lovely. Got a photo with him.
Wow.
Which you weren't allowed.
So what was the connection with him putting you in Gangs of New York?
All my family on the mafia. That answers your fucking question.
Fuck him, asked you.
No,
Did you audition like?
I did, made an arse. I was supposed to be playing P.T. Barnum, the circus owner. That's what I was auditioning for. It was a big long speech, and I practiced it. I had a moped at the time. Me and Greg had mopeds, and I had a hat on, all around mugged up part, trying to internalise this big monologue, and I couldn't get it in. I got to the interview, made a total run of Villiers in the interview, never got the job. Ended up saying to Greg, can you film me in my living room? And I said on the camera, whose arse have you got to kiss to get in one of your movies, Marty? And we sent him it, and it got to him, and he said, that's a cheeky kid. I was a kid at that time. I like that cheeky kid, you can give him a part. And I turned up, and then I turned up and I done my line, and then he came out and he went, can you change that to Irish? I went, I said, we've got enough Scotsmen. He said, we've got stacks of Scotsmen. I went, right, okay, and changed it to Irish. So it's an experience of life. That's that's the thing I grabbed with House Goes in Fire. That photo of me and Scorsese.
Scorsese, wow. Been amazing, thanks very
much. Get around you! Made it all the way through! Yes!
We've started this scene now.
Oh, the scene, what scene was it? Who do you want me to be in this scene?
Right, come on, let's go.
Why don't you be his dad?
Eh?
His dad's a bit of a legend on this show.
Just pretend you're George.
Why don't you've been in trouble for something, I don't know, maybe you went to a country or something and...
I've been naughty.
Right, what have you... Right, and am I your dad here?
Just say that.
Just say that.
You're the man that does it. You've been in Gangs of New York. You do the script and I play a line. Let's go.
You want me to write a script?
Improv.
Just a wee quick one.
Right, okay.
Let's see how good you are. Let's go. Cut.
Right, okay.
Cut and
Action.
stop.
Action.
Right, okay, so you're the Wayne.
He's your boy.
You're the boy, right. Okay, well, the reason I'm asking you in here, sit back comfortably.
Sorry.
Yeah, I know you're wanting to go up the stair and try all your sister's clothes on again, but I'm not wanting you to do that. I'm wanting you to explain to me why it is you've not got a partner in your life, a nice partner. Because everybody you've been bringing to the house has been arseholes. Who are you looking at the new, sexual-wise, in the future? And it's only a father asking a question of a boy that I'm genuinely interested in your future. What are you going to do about it? Don't interrupt me when I'm talking. What I'm asking you straightforward is, are you or are you not at the moment involved in some sort of sexual liaison with somebody that lives in the neighbourhood round here? Just a straight yes or no. Don't answer me the no because I don't want to hear you. The other point is your room's not bastard a mess and I'm wanting that tidy up. The scud books, I mean, people don't use scud books anymore, but you for some reason...
I was fucking never asked this.
So, I want a straight answer. Do you have a partner? Shut up just now, because... Right, on you go, you can tell me.
I want us to do a show now.
So is that the scene finished?
I don't know. I didn't realise it was going to be fucking Kiernan for 5 minutes.
What's it called, Big Daddy and the Dummy? What's it going to be? There you are, I'll just fucking put my horn up your jacket. Stop your arm for shaking.
Come on, let's go and get a wee drink. Let's go and get a wee drink together. It's been a cracking year, hasn't it?
No, I've enjoyed myself.
Have you actually?
I have.
I fucking...
No, I was a bit worried about coming because you do speak very quickly, but I thought to myself, I'll try and do it.
Nah, you're excellent.
What are your predictions what will occur between now and this time next year? So, who will be the Scottish champions?
Celtic.
Wow. Just say anyone.
Anyone? What am I say?
Shaggy Thistle.
Do you want me to say a Rangers to I don't know what you're supposed to say.
I'm going to say Rangers.
Has Rangers got a chance of doing that?
Rangers are
the Rangers are Celtic. I'm definitely sure it'll be 182. I know, I'm almost convinced it'll be 182.
Yeah.
Rangers side for me.
Aye,
Okay.
he's right. And what did you say? You said
Celtic.
that he's right. He's fucking bang on with that.
Yeah.
Honestly, you'd be wasting your time. On you go.
How far will Scotland go in the Euros?
Pretty fine.
Right up to the end, I would imagine they would probably go. That's the right answer.
Yeah, good
Right,
answer.
slaying it.
Is this football? Is it still
This
football?
is football, hey.
Right,
Sorry,
right,
mate.
right.
Semi-finals.
Kev,
Hopefully, Si out the group.
out the group, okay. Who will be the hero of the tournament?
Oh, that I do know the answer to.
James Forrest.
I think James Forrest, he's a standout for me, Jay.
Right.
Who's he play for?
The heroes.
Celtic again, is it?
The hero to him, as in like Scotland's hero.
Yeah.
John McGinn.
Okay.
I like John McGinn too.
Right, so you going with John McGinn?
What?
Who'd she play with again?
No, in fact, no, Kieran Tierney.
You've won the whole of the cup and don't keep the whole of the cup now.
The Majesty's home for the blind.
And will open goal break still Games record run of 21 run shows at the Heisman?
Well, I don't
Absolutely.
know. That's what I was going to ask you. How long are you there for?
One
We're only there one night.
Listen, one night's enough. See, once you've established that you're there, the first chance that you get, that's the only advice I would give, the first chance that you get to do it again, do it again, because it's the best feeling in the world. It's better than anything else. I'm not.
What do you mean the better? What, while you're doing it or afterwards?
No. I mean,
Just
if
when
you
you're sitting
get
after
the
it?
chance, you're obviously doing it. You've sold all your tickets. If there's any chance of getting back into that hydro again, you must try as soon as you can to orchestrate being there again, because there's nothing like it. And to have it have happened to you in your life is a great thing.
Amazing. Right, thanks very much for joining us, our guest, Ford Kiernan. Enjoy the rest of the celebrations.
That's
And
been
remember, like, comment, and subscribe to Open Goal YouTube channel. You gonna subscribe?
I'm going to subscribe as soon as I know how to do that.
But New Year's meant to be the happiest time. I feel I'm going to start greeting. It's been the hardest day of my life.
Look, the way you look at these ears, I saw that on the thing. The way you look at these ears is therapeutics. That's what you're getting. You're getting mental therapeutics.
Yeah.
Aye, it's been
What
tough.
have you learned today? You
Stay out of the media. Yeah.
Stay
back.
out of this line of trade.
Aye.
It's not funny. It's not funny. You were
funny.
obviously designed to go straight to the hydro. You're hydro material.
Thanks very much.
Right, we're gonna end it with the best though. Brooke's gonna sing again.
Mister, your eyes are full of hesitation. Sure makes me wonder if you know what you're looking for. Baby, I wanna keep my reputation. I'm a sensation. You try me once, you're back for more. Yes, sir, I can boogie, but I need a certain song. I can boogie, boogie, boogie all night long. Yes, sir, I can boogie, but if you say you can't get wrong, I can boogie, boogie, boogie all night long. Happy New Year! Happy New Year!